So it's finally tomato harvest season here in the Pacific Northwest, Zone 8B. Today I want to talk about tomatoes. You go out to pick that perfect tomato hanging on the vine, perfectly red, discover that it's mangled, it looks horrible, it's got blossom end rot, it's splitting. It's just not the tomato that you envisioned when you planted them. So let's talk about things that can go wrong with tomatoes and whether or not they're still good to eat despite their flaws. So the first issue I want to talk about is blossom end rot. You can see it on these San Marzano tomatoes. And it's just a rot that happens at the end of the tomato where the blossom was. It's pretty common in certain types of tomatoes, paste tomatoes especially. So that's why it showed up in these San Marzanos. What causes it? It's an improper uptake of calcium in the plant. Notice I didn't say lack of calcium in the soil. A lot of people add Tums or eggshells trying to improve the calcium in their soil. And the calcium content is probably fine, but this still happens. So what happens is the plant is getting inconsistent watering. It's drying out too much between waterings, and that affects the plant's ability to take up calcium from the soil and feed the plant. So address your watering issues, try and be more consistent with your watering, and it's very likely that the problem will disappear. If you're still thinking that it's a soil imbalance, the best way to check that is to have your soil tested, and it will tell you what you need to add to address these kinds of issues. The next issue is fasciation, or catfacing as it's known. You can see it at the blossom end rod of these tomatoes. And it's pretty common with heirloom varieties. These are Black Krim and a Mortgage Lifter, both heirloom varieties, and both have catfacing. Typically caused by some kind of improper pollination. A lot of times you'll go out and you'll see that two flowers have fused together, and that's a pretty sure sign that you're going to have a tomato with catfacing. Still good to eat. I still use these. This one may be a little bit harder to use because it's got a pretty severe issue of it, but they're still good. Just cut away that part, cut away the core of the tomato, and the rest of the tomato is fine. The next issue is one that I've had a lot in my garden this year, and that's called yellow shoulders, and you can see it here. This is caused by too much heat typically, and it causes these sort of rough spots on the tomato. No matter how ripe the tomato gets, those still remain, and they're tough and hard. So when you go to cut into the tomato, that goes all the way through to the core of the tomato. Yellow shoulders can be caused by a nutrient imbalance in your soil with calcium, and I believe it's magnesium. But typically it's caused by too much heat when the tomato is setting fruit. So again, I've had this pretty extensively in my garden this year. We've had some pretty warm days. I simply cut it away and use the rest of the tomato. This is a Mortgage Lifter tomato, so it's a good slicer. So I just slice that part away. The rest of the tomato tastes fine. I've had it hit my San Marzano and my other paste tomatoes pretty significantly this year. So when I process those for canning, it's a little bit more problematic. But again, I cut it away and the rest of the tomato cans just fine. If you are concerned that you've got this going on and you don't think it's heat related, you can have your soil tested to see what's going on with your soil and whether it is a nutrient deficiency or imbalance. I'll also post a link to a video that I watched that explained this and explained why it happens. A really common problem with tomatoes is splitting. And you can see on this Mortgage Lifter tomato, it's got some splitting issues. And that's caused simply by the plant not being able to take up the amount of water when it's warm. The skin just simply can't stretch enough to take up the water. So it tends to split. Again, still good to eat. Cut away the split parts if they bother you, but the rest of the tomato is still perfect. So what kind of issues did you have in your garden this year with your tomatoes? Did you have blossom end rot? Did you have catfacing? Were your tomatoes splitting? What kind of things happened when you went to pick that perfect tomato and discovered that it was somewhat imperfect? Let me know. Drop a comment. And let me know what you did to fix the problem. Did you just ignore it and eat the rest of the tomato, or did you do something specific to amend the soil or change your watering schedule? Again, thanks so much for dropping by the Hippie Chick Homestead. I'm glad you are here. I hope this video helps explain some tomato issues that I've encountered and that you might encounter in your garden. And please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps my channel, and I really appreciate you dropping by. Thanks again. Take care, y'all.